Good morning, Art.
Hey, good morning, Chris.
Why don't we start off and tell me a little bit about Art and what his background is.
Well, Chris, I think there's a simple way to describe it. I'm a high-energy professional guy with a background in sales and training, and mostly in success and solutions.
Okay, very good, very good. Well, what's kind of set you apart? I mean, what's made you the guy you are today?
The capacity to go out there and, first of all, find customers that other people are ignoring. But the other parts might be equally as important. You're going to have some vision. You're going to have some persistence. Most of all, maybe you're going to have some fun as well. An awful lot of people take themselves and their jobs too seriously, and I'm a serious guy. But the reality is, at the end of the day, you've got to have two satisfied people, you and your customer.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's for sure. Well, tell me, relate for me, if you would, maybe an example of where that attitude and your abilities have paid off over the years, maybe a success story.
There are several, but one comes to mind. Many years ago, a few years ago, after leaving retail, I wound up going to work for a national appliance manufacturer and wound up as the Southern Regional Builder Manager for Louisiana, Texas, and the surrounding states. Business was good, except when I got there, our business was lousy. So there were some hard choices that had to be made. We made some staffing changes, we made some territorial changes, and I took over the corporate accounts. There happened to be one account in Shreveport, Louisiana, who really built an awful lot of homes and we had no impact with at all. So I contacted those guys and contacted and finally got the opportunity to sit down with them. And they made it abundantly clear they were happy with the brands that they were buying, but they did leave the door open for another meeting. Once I had an opportunity to understand who they were and what their interests were, I then went back with a proposal to change not how they did business, but a way that maybe would make them more money. Now, all builders are interested in doing that. So they agreed to try a test in 24 homes. We put together an upscale package program for them. Went back to them, they used them, and they suddenly had some interesting developments. They were selling spec homes before they were finished. Now that's a great dollar saver for the builders, and quite frankly, it was one of those things that we didn't anticipate happening.
Yeah, that's right. 'Cause usually they sit on the market for a while.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that time,
interest on the construction loans.
that's exactly right. The capacity to have a spec home pre-sold, all of a sudden really got their attention. We did a second demo project, essentially the same results. 90 days later, we sat down and wrote a contract for the full following year's production, and the number was pretty nice. It was at $7.9 million bucks.
Very nice. Very nice.
And even today, that's a nice order.
Nice number. Nice number. Well, you've hired a lot of people in your career. I mean, what sort of attributes do you look for, or qualities in hiring leaders in today's market, Art?
Well, I think the first thing I'm going to be interested in is perseverance. And Chris, if you don't mind, I'd like to step back to the housing thing for a moment and add one addendum to that.
Oh, sure.
When the process was finished, I looked at the buyer and asked him, "Why did you buy this?" He looked at me like I'd maybe just lost my mind or something, but he said, "Okay, I'll give you an answer." He said, "The product was right. The program was right. And you're the most persistent SLB I've ever met in my entire life." Chris, I looked at the guy and had nothing to say except thank you.
Well, you got a great personality. And you know, we were asking the question about traits of a leader. I think having a good personality and being able to be positive even in a difficult economy is a key thing.
Yeah, you know, that never changes. When times are good or times are bad, there's never a reason to lose a positive approach. Because when times are good, the positive approach makes you more money, and when times are not so good, a positive approach keeps you still out there hustling.
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. Well, let me ask you another question.